What is going on, everybody in Wrestling Review Society's Facebook page, YouTube page, the Real Pro Wrestling YouTube page, and wherever you're watching this interview from tonight? Thank you so much for setting aside a few moments of your time and spending it with us on this special episode on a Friday night, not a Thursday night. But hey, we're going to have just as much fun as we do each and every week. We have another amazing interview lined up for you guys with possibly one of the most respected wrestlers in the independent world and somebody that I've very much been looking forward to sitting down and talking to. But just before I bring my guest on, guys, I want to take a quick second to thank our amazing sponsors who make this show happen each and every week. First of which being A-Rock Designs. Guys, this is my wife's custom business where she makes all those cool wrestling cups you see floating around. Whether you want to get something wrestling related or non-wrestling related, make sure you go to A-Rock Designs on Facebook and message Ashley Rodriguez. And if you're having trouble finding that page, you can always find me in Wrestling Review Society's Facebook page. Reach out to myself, reach out to my wife, and we can point you in the right direction. Also, guys, scrolling at the bottom of the screen, thecoldestwater.com. Guys, these people make the best water bottles I've ever had in my entire life. I fill it up one time in the morning, keeps ice all day long. Never have to change the ice out. It's absolutely amazing. If you want to get your hands on their products, make sure you go to thecoldestwater.com and use promo code WRESTLING to save 10% at checkout. And if you want to get even more savings, register at thecoldestwater.com/thecoldest60 giveaway, where they will be giving away 15 free water bottles to 15 lucky winners. Lastly, guys, storefrontier.com/wrestling review society to get all of our amazing merch, like the WRS Club shirt or hoodie that I'm wearing. We have a bunch of different designs, whatever you like. You can get short sleeve, long sleeve hoodies, face masks. It does not matter. So make sure you go to storefrontier.com/wrestling review society and get your merch today. We have a few comments coming in from the comments section. Somebody's already excited for the interview. I'm just as excited. I don't think I've been this nervous in a long time. Like I said, this is one of the most respected wrestlers, not just on the Florida circuit, but in the independent scene today. And I really can't wait to just sit down and talk to him and hear his story. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the current reigning Top Crown champion in Real Pro Wrestling, the man himself, Vertigo, the Cure Rivera. Vertigo, how you doing, buddy?
Hi, I'm great. I'm honored to be here in your show. I really appreciate the words that you just said about me. I have a lot of respect for people like you that give us the platform to just to know about us and what we do, and not just what we do in the arena, what we are, and learn a little bit more behind the scenes. And I really love this team. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate that, and thank you for making the time. I know you were just driving, and you made it to your destination, so we're able to do this. I'm glad you made it to where you were going safely. But before we get started, I just want to ask, to kind of break the ice and open things up, who is Vertigo? Like who, in a nutshell, who are you as a person?
Okay, as a person, like behind. I'm a type of guy that I love to help people, and I'm the person that everybody goes in the back and said what I need to do to be better, what I need to do to progress in this business. I'm a like a big brother, uncle, father type of personality. I'm that guy that I love to help others. That's Julio Rivera, known as Vertigo.
I definitely get that feeling from you because I've seen you at two different events, both ARW and Real Pro Wrestling. And the one thing I've noticed is when you walk through the door, the reason I say you're one of the most respected wrestlers on the independent circuit, not just in Florida, but every time I go to a venue and Vertigo is on the card, the second you walk through the door, there can be 15 conversations going on. The second you walk through the door, everybody's quiet. They're shaking your hand. They're paying you that respect. And then they go back to doing what they were doing. How long did it take you to build that reputation?
Well, I've been with this next February 22nd, 21 years in wrestling. I started in 1999, February
Vertigo, I was 8 years old.
I was 18. So I was 10 years ahead of you.
Yes, sir.
And and I started when I started in wrestling. I'm always, since I was a kid, the kind of person that I never associate with people younger than me or my same age. I was associated with older people and learn from them. And
Mhm.
wrestling, I did the same. I'm always with the vets and learning and having that knowledge that they gave it to me so I can do the same. So they always see me with in wrestling. They always saw me with them with the vets and the people that know what they're doing. So I started getting that respect early in the business. In Puerto Rico, and when I moved here in Florida, it was the same thing.
So I'm glad you brought up Puerto Rico because, as everybody knows, I'm the ring announcer for Real Pro Wrestling. I actually got to announce you out to the ring, which was a true honor and privilege for me. And you have me announce you coming out of Puerto Rico. Now, are you originally from Puerto Rico?
Yeah, I'm born in Jersey, but they my father's took me to PR when I was like 4 years old, so I was
Mhm.
raised there, and I trained there. I'm trained by Sabio Vega
Yes.
and Shane Sewell. Then I did my career there. My first 15 years I did it in Puerto Rico. I worked for IWA, like a Sabio Vega's company, Victor Quiñones, and I worked with Carlos Colon for 4 years, doing TV with them, like literally whole weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, wrestling all the every day. That was literally my job. When wrestling started going down in Puerto Rico, I decided to do some changes and I moved here to Florida.
So, how different is the wrestling scene, in Puerto Rico compared to here in Florida or America or wherever else that you've wrestled? How different is it going from Puerto Rico to coming over here?
Uh, so wrestling is not that different. Just the styles, some stuff's clash. It's like you have to fight. You have to be a true fighter in Puerto Rico. You gotta be like more like a brawler, tough
Mhm.
guy to made it and survive that business, and it's very rough. And here is more like as soon if you got discipline and you know what you're doing, you'll be okay. In PR, you gotta fight for your spot. You gotta truly like earn it every single thing.
Yeah, and you say you work for the Colones and, or Carlos Colon, and they're known for bringing talent in and having some really big names work there. As a new guy breaking into the scene, how hard was it for you to fight for your spot in that kind of company where you are surrounded by these vets and these people who've been doing it for such a long time? How hard was it for you to earn your spot?
Well, be honest with the colognes, I I was a young guy. I was green, so I was literally a opener, or sometimes just go there do a job. But that opportunity, every opportunity they gave me, it was with someone with more experience. So I took that opportunity. I learned from them, from all these guys they bring from outside, and just go there do a job or do this, learn from him. But it was hard. With the colons, I just worked for like a couple of years because it's very difficult. That we in PR we call the uh, WWC the University of Wrestling. If you made it there to the top in PR, you're like one of the best thing that have in wrestling in PR. And it's pretty difficult to make it there because all the best talents is in that company there.
Yeah, and I've never been to Puerto Rico. I've never seen it, but I've heard plenty of stories from guys that I've interviewed on this show, and they say very much the same thing. We have a comment coming in from our viewer section from Daniel Smith who says Vertigo is a legend in wrestling, and I absolutely agree with that comment. So, at what age did you come back here to America?
I moved uh 2014. I was seven, 7 years, 33.
Thir- age 33?
Yes.
Okay, so I guess my next question would be is, you said you went over there at 4, you came back at 33. That's about 29 years. How was life readjusting, or I wouldn't even say readjusting because you were just a small child when you went over, but adjusting to a new culture, a new environment, a new style of wrestling.
Well,
How was it?
it wasn't that difficult for me because I'm I served for 12 years, so I was back and forth in the army, in different states, and
No
my
way.
unit. Yeah.
I was also in the army.
So first 65th Infantry, 11 Bravo.
I was 13 Bravo in Fort Campbell, 4320 Battery, and then I went to dog handler school and became a dog handler after.
So I did four active, and then two breaking service, and eight with the National Guard. But
Okay.
it was good.
Well, thank you for
I
your
liked it.
service.
Thank you.
So, did you always, when you came over to America, obviously you knew you still wanted to wrestle. You
Yes.
knew that wrestling was in your blood and there was no changing that. How did you go about finding bookings and finding a wrestling promotion where you could work at?
Okay. When I moved, I needed a change. I need something different. First, I was actually thinking of stop. This is I want to change. I want to stop wrestling. I want to do something different. Uh, 6 months later, I was already looking for a place to train. I couldn't stop. I was like, okay, I need a place to train. They recommend me a place in Orlando. It wasn't the best place. They treat me like crap. I'll be honest. They treat me like crap because I was Latino. I didn't
Hmm.
have this beard. I have short hair. I look very young, and they didn't believe me that because I look young, that I have 15 year experience. I was working for TV. I know this, I know that. So they treat me like I was just uh, someone trying to make it by lies.
Hmm.
So they give me a chance for one match with a person that I respect a lot. Some people have different opinion about him. It was Mr. Alex Porto. That was my first match in Florida, and the promoter told him to test me. Very old school way. He's an old school guy. So he entered the ring and started like beating me up, like literally like fight me.
Just really stiff and.
Yes. So I he realizes when I came back to do the same thing, these guys know what he's doing. I'm not gonna try nothing with him. And after that, he went to the promoter. Told him, this guy know what he's doing. Stop messing with him. Give him a chance. So they used me a couple of shows, but I really wasn't happy the way they were treating me. I met a lot of great person there, like Lince Dorado, Ricardo Rodriguez. They treat me with a lot of respect. They help me. The promoter
Hmm.
never treat me with respect. So I got a friend that was working with WXW. That's Alpha the was some more promotion and
Hmm.
WSTC the school. He invited me to one practice, so I went there scared because all my life I grew up watching them, the
Hmm.
Samoans, and I was a fan. So that fan, it was in me that came out that day. I was like, oh, I want to meet this guy for the first time. I was scared. Just as soon as step up that school, I didn't know what to do.
Hmm.
So they Alpha see me with him, give me a little interview. He asked me about my career. He called Savio Vega to verify if what I was saying was real. Savio Vega confirmed it, so he put me in the ring with another one of his guys. Not in the first minute of the match, he stopped the match, and I didn't know what to do. I was like, oh, what I did wrong? I did something wrong. I was scared. He called me to his office. He started looking, staring at me like very serious. I was like, damn, this is my last day in wrestling. I have to stop because I messed it up. He starts After that. He started laughing and smiling and asked me, Hey son, what you doing this Saturday? Man, nothing. Bring your gear. You got a match. You start working with me right away. First minute, 1 minute in the ring. Right away, he gave me a job. From there, people start watching me on WXW. I start getting calls and bookings, and everywhere I go. That
Dude, that
that's my story in Florida.
that just that story right there just literally gave me goosebumps because everybody who knows wrestling knows the Samoan family. Everybody knows Alpha, Sika. Everybody knows that that is the family when it comes to wrestling. There's no higher. I mean, there's other wrestling families, but that one is synonymous with pro wrestling. And it's like you said, standing there in the office, not knowing what's going on, just know your match got cut after a minute, and then you get the green light, the seal of approval from the Wild Samoans. I mean, kind of talk to us how that felt, like just knowing that everything you've worked so hard for, and now you're standing in front of this legendary wrestling family, and he just said, look man, you got it, you work for me now. How did that I guess confirmation of everything that you already knew, but seeing that somebody else recognized it, being as influential as they are, how did that moment feel for you?
Uh, that moment, I feel like I made it. This is it. Uh, I've been working hard all my life. I never got the recognition in PR. People know me in PR. They respect me, but I never got the recognition that I feel in myself, that I know and I feel that I deserve. But in 1 minute here, one person just affirmed everything I have inside of me, and he, with just a couple of words, let me know, like, you know what you're doing. I want you in my company. Keep working.
Absolutely. Chris, what's going on, man? We are sitting down with the reigning Real Pro Wrestling Top Crown champion, a true legend in pro wrestling, Vertigo, the Cure Rivera. And that brings me to my next question, Vertigo. Where did the Cure come from? How did you come up with that name, the Cure?
Okay, let's. I have this is a very like something that come from, like, always touch me.
Mm-hmm.
The
Sentimental.
cure is yes, it's something very personal. My family always been battling with cancer. Uh, right now, my dad have cancer. For this is the fourth time that he have cancer, and he's been fighting with it. I got a sister that she died of cancer 5 years ago, and all my family, they are baseball players. They got different specific or baseball players, and the women are nurses or cops.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the only one that broke that chain and follow something that I love. I didn't follow the step of my family. So when she was in her bed battling cancer, she used to sit down and watch my matches and be happy for me because I was following what I like. I didn't like follow the family, and she
Mm-hmm.
always tell me, always in Spanish, uh, every time I see you, you make me happy. You're my cure. That's why I use
Mm.
the cure.
You know, my not my birth mother, but a lady who helped raise me. She was just diagnosed with breast cancer, and I understand the toll that takes on the family. And to be able to provide her a sense of enjoyment or just a brief moment where she forgets about that and she's truly happy, that's the greatest gift you can give anybody. And I thank you for sharing that story because it is so personal. Um, I just it really makes me respect you more than I already did. I've told you plenty of times in person how much I respect you, and that just puts you on a whole nother level in my book. So thank you for sharing that story. And I wish your family nothing but the best. And I hope all of them, you know, you say your father for the fourth time.
Yeah,
I I pray he beats it, and for the fit and for the fourth and final time he beats it. So thank you for
thank
sharing
you.
that story.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Whew, that was
Yeah,
Yeah.
it always touched me. That's why I gotta hold my breath and talk about it
Oh yeah,
because
it
it's
it hit me very hard because, like I said, it's not my birth mother, but I lived with her through high school. She helped raise me. She put food in my stomach. Her mother just recently passed away, and then we got the news that she had it as well. So I'm definitely right there with you, man. I know how much it hurts. So by using the name The Cure, and I don't want to harp on this too much because I know it is very personal and very emotional, but by using the name The Cure, do you feel like by doing that, you are bringing a piece of them with you to every match you walk into?
yes, yes. That's one of my I not just go in the ring. I always go to the ring because I love wrestling. But after that situation, she started calling me the cure. I start doing a lot of like benefit shows in PR and helping for cancer.
Mhm.
So I start using the cure in the sleeve, but it wasn't my nickname. I just use it to represent what we were doing in the benefit shows. So I was trying to help uh, to find something and get money for it. When she passed away, I decided like to start using the cure on her name just
Mhm.
to because she was one of my biggest supporters in my family. So I always every time I put that sleeve, I say cure. Part of her with me in the ring.
That's 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 beautiful, man. Thank you for sharing that. Um, Now I want to get back into the style of wrestling you do because, like I said, the first time I saw you was at an ARW show, and I didn't know anybody there. I'm friends with Garrett Bischoff. It was the event where he was the special guest referee in the main event, Shannon versus Wes. It was that show, and he was the only person I knew, aside from like Shannon and Wes and stuff like that. But I watched your match, and the way the ability or the ability you have to slow down, speed up, the psychology you have in the ring, the way you control the crowd, the way you control your opponent was just absolutely fascinating. And I bought into it hook, line, and sinker within the first 30 seconds of your match. I knew I was going to be a fan of yours. Who were some of the guys you looked up to in pro wrestling when you were starting? Who were some of the guys that really stood out to you as role models? And where did you adapt this style of wrestling from? I know you said the brawling style, obviously Puerto Rico, that's kind of what you have to do over there. But everything else you do, as technical as you are, and just the way you can switch it on and off and on and off is truly admirable. Who were some of the wrestlers that stood out to you when you were training that you looked up to, and where did you adopt your style from?
Okay. I always I grew up. I watch all type of wrestling from everywhere, and I always follow different type of wrestlers. Like I always been a big fan of Taz.
Absolutely.
Bruiser Brody is one of my big favorite. William Regal, Chris Jericho. Uh, there's a Dominican wrestler called El Bronco Numero Uno. Savio Vega, and he was my trainer also. So I have a lot of people in my career that I try to absorb everything, every single thing from them. I learned how to go to a locker room and find the bed of the locker room, the most knowledgeable person there. Sit down with that person and just pick the brain and take pieces of what that person brings and adapt it into me without stealing what that person has.
Hmm.
And I'm making my own and create my own thing without actually disrespect that person doing the same thing that person's doing.
Absolutely. Kind of taking it and adapting it, making it your own while still paying respect to the
Yes.
person who did it before you. One of the biggest things we have coming in the comments section, I'm going to show this one, but there are many comments like this saying many prayers and positive vibes to you and your
Thank
family.
you. Thank you.
Um, so one question, another question I had for you about wrestling, and then I kind of want to get into who you are outside of the ring and the things that you enjoy doing. Um, I want to approach this as respectfully as I can. You said in the beginning that you're engaged to be married. Your fiance is a member of that legendary family. How influential has she been on your career? Like, do you ever pick her brain and ask her, "Can I do this better? Can I do that?" Like, how much influence does she have on you, and how much? I'm trying to figure out the right way to ask this. Just how much influence does she have on your career, and does she ever give you any feedback from your matches?
Oh, she's she's ruthless.
All of them
and
are.
I like that. I like that because she's honest. It's the match doesn't work, doesn't work. It is bad, it's bad. It's good, it's good. She has so much knowledge from her father passed to
Mhm.
her that every time she go to a show, she got a chance to watch the match. She will pick the match and tell me this was good, this was bad, and she will let me know exactly what to do next time.
You know, I
Talking about her, talking about her, she just stepped out in my car. She's next to us.
well, I'm glad she can hear me because what I was about to say
Hello.
was, "How are you?"
Good. Hi.
I was just about to tell Vertigo that being at the last Real Pro show, knowing the knowledge you have for pro wrestling and how long you've been around it, out of everybody there, Zach sits, 6'5", 270 pounds. Vertigo, you're no slouch in the ring either. But the most intimidating person in that venue to me was your lovely fiance, Vertigo. She terrifies me,
She is.
Well, thank you. I take that as a
and
great compliment. I
I mean
appreciate
that
it.
with all due respect.
Trust me, that's a compliment in my eyes.
So, Vertigo, we've kind of talked about your career, starting in Puerto Rico, coming over to Florida, going to the Samoa's Academy and stuff like that. But outside of the ring, what are some of the things that you enjoy, some hobbies that you have that your fans may not know about?
Well, I dance. I do ballroom dance with my fiance.
Really?
Yes, before wrestling, I was a dancer in PR too. I did dance, modeling, acting. I play baseball, uh, play basketball. I'm an artist. I draw and I paint.
Mm-hmm. I knew that from
Uh,
our mutual friend Zach had told me about the painting you guys did for his wedding.
yes, she's an amazing painter. She's better painting than me. I'm more like I'm a sketcher.
Okay.
Just give me pen and paper. I'm good with that. And I love watching movies and sports, video games. My name comes from a video game. That's a nickname they had when I was like 12 years old. That's why I use
Really?
Birdie. Yes, there's an arcade game called Primal Rage. It's
Mm-hmm.
a dinosaur slash Mortal Kombat type of deal, like a fighting game with dinosaurs.
Okay.
And there's this character called Vertigo. I think it's a I don't remember exactly the name of the dinosaur. I think
I think it was a raptor.
yes, yes, it's a raptor. It's called Vertigo. And my brother used to work in arcade, and I was always there. I used to just get a quarter, put it on the machine, and everybody knew what character I was used to. I was gonna use, so they start calling me Vertigo. Oh, here comes Vertigo. Here comes Vertigo. So stick up to me, so I start using my name. Like let's use my nickname.
And that's the thing, man. Some of the best names slash gimmicks in pro wrestling just come naturally. And it's not something that you have to force. It's something that you've had, like you said, since you were a kid. Um, we have a comment coming in from our good buddy Daniel Smith, all the way in the United Kingdom. It says, Vertigo, what has been the highlight of your career? And please, can I have a shout out from Vertigo? Watching from England.
Oh, thank you, Daniel Smith. Thank you for watching me. Highlights of my career. I I have like I have the opportunity to perform in a WWE uh, in SmackDown Live in front of like I think it was like 20,000 person against
Mhm.
the Bludgeon Brothers. And as the new guy, they just gave you They just pass you next to the ring and they put you right away in the ring. That day they gave me an interview. They gave me a full entrance and they gave me an actual championship match in my first match there. And for me, that was one of the greatest thing ever. It wasn't a contract match; it was just a regular match. But I had I had the chance to be in that ring and feel what they feel in front of that big crowd.
Absolutely. And that's one of the questions I wanted to ask you about. With the recent passing of Brody Lee, rest in peace, God rest his soul. Um, but with the recent passing of Brody Lee, you got to share the ring with him on SmackDown Live for the championships, and I'm sure that's a moment you're always going to hold near and dear to your heart.
Yes,
So,
yes,
like I said, getting into who you are outside of the ring, I was scrolling through your Instagram and I noticed that you're a really big superhero fan.
yes.
A lot of Batman, Superman. I believe you have a Green Lantern tattoo, um, all that other good stuff. So, where did your love for superheroes and comic book stuff like that come from?
Well, when I was a kid, my big brother used to read comic books, but it
Hmm.
was more like Latino comic books. It was one, it was called the Condor, and the other one is it was like sometime like comedy cartoons. One he took me to the store to buy some comic books with him, and I'm me as a kid, I was like 6 years old, start fighting for a comic book that I that I wanted. I didn't know what it was, but I wanted.
Hmm.
I was just a kid, so he bought it for me and he gave it to me. And I never read it. When I was like 8 years old, I found it and I started reading it and I got into it. It was a Batman detective comic. I still have it. It was 1989 comic book from Batman Detective Comics. I still
So
have that comic. That's my first comic book.
very nice. And I definitely want to get into I definitely want to ask you a little bit more about that. But before we do, like I said, I noticed a lot of superhero stuff in this question. I have to ask, if you had one hero and one villain, so two characters to portray you in any movie, any kind of comic book, who would portray Vertigo the Cure Rivera as a villain and as a hero?
I got one person. He can be both. It's
Deadpool?
a hero, a civilian. Dextro.
Okay. I thought you were going to say Deadpool because he kind of plays both sides.
Yeah, Dextro. Deadpool is
Why
a ripoff
him?
of Dextro. So Dextro is one of my favorite characters of DC Comics. I'm more a DC side. I like
Hmm.
Marvel, but I'm a DC comic guy. And Dextro. That's if you look at me as a character when I come out, and the colors that I use, it's because of him.
Hmm.
The eye patch, the orange, purple, and black is all Deathstroke.
Very
I
nice.
love. He's is also he's like what the way I see it. He's more on the human side
Hmm.
instead of a superpower character, and he's ex-military like me. He likes to fight. He never quit. He doesn't care. Just go and do his what he gotta do. As a putting wrestling wise as a baby face as a heel. He just goes there and stole the show, and that's what I like.
Have you ever seen I'm sure you have, but the TV show The Green Arrow?
Yes, I watch
I
every
love the way he was
single
portrayed.
DC show.
I love the way he was portrayed in that show, The Green Arrow. Absolutely loved it. It was very, you never knew what he was going to do. You never knew if he was going to help Oliver, if he was going to hurt Oliver. He ends up killing Oliver's mother and then ends up helping him. You never knew what he was going to do. And now that you make that comparison, I definitely see that with your wrestling because, like I said, the first time I saw you, you had this very unique ability to that it factor that you have. You can turn it on, you can turn it off, you can work your opponent, you can work the crowd. And you're really a jack of all trades when it comes to the things you do inside the ring. and I absolutely love watching it. I could watch your matches all day long. I truly mean that. But going back to what you said about still having your first comic, one thing that people who are into certain things like we are, like I love wrestling just like you do. I collect the championship belts and stuff like that. Do you collect anything? Like, do you collect comic books, action figures, or anything like that?
I collect a lot of stuff. I collect toys,
If your wife
magazines,
is anything like
comic
mine,
books.
she's not happy about that.
I don't mind.
She doesn't mind. That's good.
My wife always
No,
tells me we're running out of room.
we might be. We might run out of. But yes, I have a bunch of toys, Funko Pops, wrestling toys. I still have like uh, three totes full of old school wrestling toys. The one that doesn't move, the rubber beat ones.
Mm-hmm.
I never get rid of any of my toys. I still have everything.
I just got into the figure collecting. Like I said, I've collected the championship belts for a while now. I think I'm up to about 42 or 43, somewhere around there. But I just got into the figure collecting. I'm collecting the AEW series, me and my kids together. And I never realized how fun it could be, going from store to store, trying to see what they have and trying to find them. And it's something that we've really been able to bond over. And, I never thought I'd be a toy collector, but I'm actually sitting here looking at the tote with all the AEW figures in it now. And I never thought it could be this fun. So I'm definitely looking forward to keep doing it.
It is. There was a moment that I was like, I might start selling everything, and then I just stopped. It's like, no, I can't.
So what are some of the favorite pieces of your collection?
I have a lot of.
Look how big his eyes got, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm a also a big. I grew up watching Hogan,
Mm-hmm.
and I have in one of my totes the first Hogan toy from WWF. Was like plastic. It couldn't even move like this.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I collect movies and characters, toy for characters. And my biggest collection ever that I love. I'm a big fan of the 80s, and I
Mm-hmm.
love Alf. You remember Alf?
Mm-hmm.
I have the original plush Alf from the series since I was 7 years old, still in my bed, and that's gonna still there until I'm gone. That's that's my pride. That toy.
you know, and I get crap all the time from my friends and stuff like that, but it's very easy to make fun of when you don't enjoy it as much as we do. But when you enjoy doing this, there's nothing like it. When you walk into
Yes.
when I walk into a Walmart and I see the AEW action figures because they always sell out so fastly, and I find one that I don't have, and my son sees it. Like we just found the John Moxleys and the MJFs not too long ago, so we both got one of those, and just seeing the joy on his face when he's seen it, and it's just there's nothing that compares to it. I don't think we're going to be stopping anytime soon.
No.
So, Vertigo, you say you've been wrestling for over 20 years now. And I like to ask this question to everybody that I have the opportunity to sit down and talk to. Knowing everything you know now in the wrestling business, and as seasoned as your mind has gotten, if you can go back 20 years or however many years in the past it was and give yourself one piece of advice when you were starting out, what would that be?
My advice, move, I will let myself know to move to Florida before before my age,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm very sure with the knowledge I get, I will be signed anywhere I got in any moment.
The
Right now,
fact
with the knowledge I get right now.
The fact that you're not is a crime to pro wrestling because you deserve to be seen on every single platform. And like I said, I truly mean that. And I'm not just saying that because you're here on the show. I told you that in person. I've been telling everybody that as I promoted this show. I am such a fan of yours. And the fact that you're not is a crime to the world of pro wrestling. So I'm very happy that I'm able to have you on this show and introduce you to a new audience who may have never seen you before. But you mentioned, can you bring me the Hogan belt? Yeah. Sorry, I asked my wife to bring me something. I thought she had it, but I got something I really want to show you. I'll be showing you in just a second. But you also teach and help train the next generation of pro wrestlers, correct?
Yes.
So do you get the same enjoyment from teaching as you do performing?
Yes. Actually, my goal right now, not if I get a chance to get signed by any company, I will gladly take it and give my best to them. But my goal right now at my age is open my own school and make sure that this new talent that's coming out go outside and perform the right way and do the thing the right way for this business that we love. Not just go there, not just go to any school and learn the basic and they get thrown out to this world and get killed.
How to do it and do it right and keep people safe while
Yes.
you perform. You know, you brought up earlier that you were a Hogan fan growing up, and so was I. Maybe not as big as Hogan fan as everybody else, but this is a piece that I have in my collection that I absolutely love. It's the
Oh,
Hogan 86.
that's pretty amazing. I got a little story about Hogan and me.
Please.
My fiance can tell that story better than me.
Well, I'd love to hear it if she's willing to tell it.
Of course. Okay, so it was what, about a year ago?
2 years.
2 years ago. We were at a WWE event, and my dad was there, and Hogan came over and started talking to my dad, and Julio was with us, and he had the biggest face-eating grin you've ever seen. Like, his smile was all the way up to his ears. And Hogan starts teasing him and saying, what was it that he said to you?
Hey, Pops, what do you think if I take this kid, give it a ride, and put him to respect your daughter? He's no one to be with your daughter.
Yeah, Hogan was goofing off with him, and everybody does that. The minute they find out he's my fiance, all the guys, Billy Kidman, who else was nagging you? Michael Hayes.
Yeah.
They're all like, "Oh, you're in for it now, brother," you know, because they all know how my dad is, and
Absolutely.
they wished him well, basically.
So I'm glad you're here because I wasn't going to ask this question out of respect, but I feel like it's okay because you're both on here. You're both smiling, laughing, having a good time. Did you meet her through the school Vertigo, or did you guys know each other
Basically,
before?
no, I met her on a WXW show, but for 2 years I was working with them. It was literally nothing.
Yeah.
Hey,
Nothing.
hi, keep walking.
Yeah, not an ounce of attraction
No
or
interest,
chemistry.
not nothing. And all of a sudden we were in a barbecue. We start talking, and boom,
The rest is
this happened.
history.
Now, how nervous going to her father, whose school you're at, like we've already addressed, probably the most famous family in pro wrestling. I've actually had the chance to interview Lance on here, and such a great kid to talk to. Absolutely had a blast with him. But going up to her father, you know, asking his permission or however that went, how nervous were you and how did that conversation go?
I was very nervous. She's the one that had to tell him, not me.
Yeah, that was an experience.
I was.
That's awesome.
I was scared for my life. I was ready to put on like battle armor and hide behind a barbed wire wall to have to tell my dad that I had fallen for a wrestler, which was his number one rule my whole life. Never, ever, 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 ever date a wrestler.
Have you dated a
And then
wrestler
this-
before Vertigo?
No.
So this was the
No,
first
never.
time.
Mm-hmm.
And what did your dad say?
Well, first I got him very, very drunk before I dropped the bomb on him. I mean, he was sloshing. His brain was sloshing around unanchored in his head when I told him the news, and he sobered up so quickly. He immediately was stone cold sober when I kind of broke the news. But when I said who it was, he had nothing bad to say because he really likes Vertigo and he has nothing but respect for him, and he hated it. He hated the fact that he had nothing bad to say. It's like it drove him crazy that he couldn't.
He wanted to critique it. He wanted to nitpick it, but he couldn't.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, whoo, I was scared to death. But as soon as I walked out of the room, he was booked on another show that night. So, you know, I had to drop the bomb myself, and I called him right away. I said, I told him, and I'm still alive. And he said, it's okay.
But see, you told him and you were still alive, but he's booked on the next show. Who knows if he's still going to be alive or not? Vertigo, when after she breaks the news to her father, and I'm not trying to make this about your guys' relationship. I just think it's very cute, very funny. So thank you for being willing to talk about it. So she breaks the news to her father that you guys are together, and you weren't there. You're booked on the next show. What is your next interaction like with her father?
Oh, I received a text message like 10 minutes later. Hey, son, we need to talk. Tomorrow at the school at 12. I'll be there. Okay. I go there. There's no one, just him.
Insert diarrhea here, right?
So he looked at me and goes, hi, son. Open the school. He opened the school, get into the office, turn off the AC, sit down, and stare at me and goes, what I hear about my daughter is true?
Everybody in the comment section is loving this story. I'm not gonna say it out of respect for you guys, but if you don't mind, do you mind telling people who your father is?
My dad is WWE Hall of Famer Afa the Wild Samoan.
Yeah, now you know why Vertigo was so nervous. So
Exactly.
Vertigo, the story.
Exactly.
So he goes, son, what my daughter told about you is real? Yes. Yes, sir. If it's okay with you, there's no problem. I was nervous. I was like shaking to say, okay. I just want to ask you one thing. Respect her, love her, treat her right. It's not, I make sure they ain't gonna find your body. Then he got up, shook my hand, gave me a hug, and goes, love you, son. Take care of her. And I was like, okay, thank you.
The sigh of relief after that conversation, and by the way, Daniel
Yes.
Smith, Afa is an absolute living legend. You are absolutely correct. But the sigh of relief after that conversation is over, not only once do you get the seal of approval when you go there to start wrestling, but more importantly, you get the seal of approval to start dating his daughter, and now you guys are engaged to be married. I wish you guys nothing but a life of happiness. You guys are absolutely beautiful
Thank you.
together, and I love seeing you guys at the shows. Like I said, your lovely fiance does intimidate the ever living hell out of me. But
You're not the first person to say that.
as I shouldn't be. As I shouldn't be. And last question about this before we move on, just because of how big the Samoan family is and how well tied they are into pro wrestling, how many of those talks did you have to have? Or was it just that one?
It was a few.
All the time.
And whose was the
Every
scam?
time. Most of the time. And I think the only person after him that actually like sit down with a little bit with me and talk, but it wasn't that bad, was Sika. Just asking me how everything was going, and he just you got my blessing, my brother give you your bless, so love you, son, you're welcome to the family.
That is absolutely amazing. So when do you guys plan? You guys have the wedding booked and everything. So how's that coming along? When's the wedding planned for?
Halloween.
October. Halloween.
It's Halloween.
This Halloween.
Yes.
Now, is it just because it's Halloween, or was there any significance to that date?
Both. I love Halloween.
Me too. It's our favorite holiday, so it just kind of worked out. And being that we're in Central Florida, that's a really nice time of year weather-wise.
Mm-hmm.
So we figured we don't want it to be dead of summer where we're dying and sweating to death. We don't want to be freezing, so October's perfect. And we love Halloween, so it works out perfectly.
So, like I said, that being able to ask both of you these questions. First off, to your fiance, thank you for joining us, and
You're welcome.
thank you for being willing to come on. Every time I interview somebody and their significant other comes in, they're always so camera shy, and you just took to it like a moth to a flame. So thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
But we kind of talked about your wrestling. We talked about your hobbies outside, and we talked about the story of dating Alpha's daughter and how scary that would be. Before we wrap the show up, is there anything about Vertigo, the Cure Rivera, that you would want your fans to know, or the people watching to know, that they may not know about you already? If you can tell them just something about you, what would that be?
I really don't know. That's a good question. What the fans don't know about me?
That every animal in creation is in love with you.
I'm a pet lover. I love every animal. That's true.
And they love him. Every animal he encounters.
Yeah, I like the Beastmaster. I go to them, they go to me.
And last question before we wrap things up, Vertigo. We have a lot of people in these groups. We're on 8 different platforms, and we always get a very diverse group of people. And one thing that they all have in common is either they love wrestling or want to become a wrestler. If you can give anybody advice on wanting to become a wrestler and what steps they would have to take, what advice would you give somebody wanting to become a wrestler in the future?
Well, my advice is, before you go to a wrestling school, do a good search about your wrestling school around. Who's are the trainers? Who's are the people in charge of it? Make sure you go to the correct place. Don't go to any school because it's cheap or it's near you. Try to make sure your future is secure. There's a lot of schools outside that somebody that took a couple of classes or watched a lot of wrestling bought a ring and put a school and try to teach the wrong thing, and that's what make is that doesn't help the business, doesn't help wrestling. We got a lot of wrestlers that go to shows without the proper training, and person with the training the way it's supposed to be end up hurts because of these people that they don't know what they're doing. And also always have a plan B. You never know what's gonna happen in your career. Uh, this wrestling is an on and off business. You can be on top and all of a sudden go down. I mean, if you don't have a plan B, something to back off, a good work or something that you study that can make you money, it can be difficult for you. Always have something to back up what you have in wrestling.
Absolutely. And I think that's great advice for anything you want to do in life, something that you're passionate about. As passionate as you are and as much as you want it to work out, always have something to fall back on. Always have that safety net. So as much as that does apply to pro wrestling, I think that applies to every aspect in life. So it's a very good piece of advice. And you've heard it from, like I said, one of the absolute best in wrestling today. Vertigo, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Before we get off here, please allow everybody to know where they can find you, follow you, and keep up with your amazing career.
Okay. Vertigo the Cure 13 at Instagram, Vertigo the Cure 13 Twitter, or Vertigo the Cure Rivera on Facebook. And also, if you go to Pro Wrestling Tees, find Vertigo the Cure. They got my merchandise there. I appreciate it if you buy a couple. Finance America, Vertigo the Cure Rivera, you find my merch too.
Absolutely, guys. You all have been asking all show long. This is Vertigo's Instagram page. Like he said, it's the same on Twitter, and Vertigo the Cure Rivera on Facebook. So make sure you find him, follow him, keep up with his amazing career, because I'm telling you guys, this is by far one of the most entertaining wrestlers I've ever had the privilege of not only sitting down and watching, but also introducing to the ring. Vertigo, once again, thank you so much. If I can have just one more second of your time when we end the live feed, I would really appreciate it. Guys, this has been this episode of The War Room. We will be back next week with another special guest on Thursday at 7 p.m. our normal time. And thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next week on The War Room.